Hi folks, Paul McFadden here, and this week I'm in Venice City. So if you are listening, you won't see the amazing, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning scenery around us. If you're watching on video, great stuff. I thought this week I want to cover something that most people desire when it comes to the world of property, and that is owning your own dream home. So with your dream home, you can have that a lot sooner than you might think. So I'm going to share with you a strategy that allowed me to move into my dream home at the time when I was only 24 years old. Now I still own that property. However, I've moved a few times since. And it's a strategy that will allow you to have your dream home way ahead of time, all right? And it's something that's advocated by two people you might have heard of, one being Mr. Dan Pena, the $50 billion man, and also Grant Cardone, 10x baby. So if you don't know who either of those two are, where have you been? Check them out, all right? Now, Grant Cardone, one of his philosophies is don't own your own home. Your own home is a liability. And I believe that too. If you think about it, when you buy your own home and you're the one that's responsible for paying the mortgage, then that means it's a liability. The only thing that becomes an asset is that when you actually sell, or if you start generating the income by renting it out. So until then, well, you're still paying that mortgage. It's a liability, my friends. So we need to get that through so we understand about assets and making an income, and this is how we can start to grow wealth. Now, what Grant Cardone also touches on and talks about is that your own home, rent your own home. And if you rent your own home, that's fine. That allows you to stay flexible, stay free, be able to up and move. If you think about it, if you're living in a home that's £500,000, £1 million, or even only £250,000, whatever that may be, and you've bought that property, and despite everybody thinking that the property market's booming right now, in certain pockets it is, it's all down to supply and demand. And because there isn't enough supply on the marketplace, that's why you see more buyers for property that's on. So for every one property in certain locations, you've got like 10 buyers. That's why you're getting this whole false boom when people are paying over the market value for the property because there's not enough coming up. And that presents a few challenges and issues in the sense of those £250,000 plus homes, £500,000 plus homes, they're not moving. They are not moving. They're literally, for two reasons. Because the person that wants to sell, they would love to sell, but then where do they go to? They don't have anywhere to go because everywhere they've been looking at, they're getting outbidded by people who are paying well over the market value. And at the time it takes them to sell the property that they were looking at is gone. So until the supply and demand starts to even out, then they're going to have a challenge, an ongoing challenge in how to sell those properties. Now, a lot of these people who live in £500,000 plus, £1 million plus homes, they would love to be able to release the burden. Don't think for 1 minute that people that live in £1 million houses don't have a massive burden on them, and don't think that their financial situations don't change. You don't think that they would love to downsize and go and rent somewhere or whatever the circumstances situation might be. And with that in mind, once they want to move and they can't, they've literally got this big overhead, their own home over their head, that they can't get that, that monthly income, that monthly mortgage payment they're paying. They can't get rid of that because they can't sell their property. So with this in mind, we have an opportunity to do something that will allow you to own your dream home. Now, I'm assuming that your dream home is a £500,000, £1 million plus home. It doesn't have to be. It could be a couple £100,000 home. It could just be a certain location, and value has got nothing to do with it. However, most people, especially in the property game, we want to live in the bigger houses, the houses that are in the great locations, in affluent areas. I've got all the kind of bells and whistles and stuff. I mean, the home that I did my first with this strategy I'm going to share with you, when I did this strategy in my first home, it had, a full kitted out cinema room, had surround sound throughout the house as well. It had a hot tub out the back garden. It was all set up. It was all kitted fully out, and that was a big draw for me. It was like my own bachelor's pad, all right, at the time, and it was awesome. It was done to such a high standard, and I'll explain the strategy in a moment and how, at that time, for me to get that home, I wasn't able to get a mortgage. I wasn't even able to come up with a deposit as much as I started to come into money when I was, involved in property and doing some deals, packaging deals. I was, it wasn't the time to be flipping deals because it was the recession, the property market got hit hard at that time, but I was building my portfolio rapidly and I was packaging a lot of deals at that time. But unfortunately, when you're self-employed and when you're in a recession, not many mortgage lenders wants to lend to someone who is self-employed and more importantly, through the recession, to buy residential property that was at the time over the market value. No one was financing stuff over the market value. All right, they were looking for some level of discount, mortgage lenders, to weigh up their security, and I never had the deposit there as well. So I'm going to explain how that you don't have to have the deposit, how you don't have to have the income and salary bracket to allow you to move into that home. You just need to have this strategy, and once you get the right strategy, this is going to open up a whole different world to you. I mean, most people think that buying property is as simple as putting an offer in, getting it accepted, going through the conveyancing process and taking ownership. It's far from that. There's multiple different strategies. There's lots of different strategies. So with Grant Cardone, let's get back to him. He talks about that why you shouldn't own your own home, and we've covered that. We've said that for the same reasons, because of liability. He talks about why you should rent, so it allows you to have that freedom. The same situation I shared there is that if you're committed and you're stuck with a high value property that no one is in a position to buy, and you can't offload and sell, and your circumstances change, God forbid, then you're left with that burden. But when you're renting something like that, you can stay free. You can get up and leave. You're only renting after all. And with this in mind, you can literally be a man or woman of the world. You're not tied down to any one location. And that's what Grant Cardone's all about. Now, Dan Pena, what does he talk about? He talks about, let's say you've got £1 million property that's on the market, and it might not even be on the market. If it's on the market, great, the seller at least is motivated to sell, at least they want to sell the property, so they wouldn't have put it on the market. So what if you go and view that property? What if you go and get conversations, whether it's with the agent, and remember, the agent who can get creative in the sense of taking a creative solution to the seller, that's an agent that's going to get paid well. And trust me, sellers these days are open to solutions and creative ways of doing deals. So what I did my first ever property, and what I've done in a couple of properties since then as well, it's not a strategy. Let's be clear for a moment. This is not a strategy to build your portfolio. It really isn't. You really need to make sure you're a professional investor, know the game inside out, know and understand all the risk involved with this strategy, because there's a lot of risk involved as much as there's a lot of reward. We have a number of people who come through a property protege program who learn this strategy, and we dig deeper. I've not got time in this podcast to go into all the ins and outs, the legalities, the different security measures, how to structure the deal, how to make sure the seller gets on board, how you incentivize them. I've not got time to go into all of that kind of stuff. For the real purpose of this podcast is just to inspire you a little bit to realise that you can get this. You can get your dream home. It's much closer than you actually think. And I've not got time to go into all of that. That's covered in our property protege programs, and we have people on our programs who go out there and do use this as a strategy to build up strong portfolios, but do that with getting in with your eyes wide open and realise that if it's done wrong, it could be a very costly strategy. So let's talk about this in simple terms. You see that £1 million home. It could be a £500,000 home. It could be a £10 million home. Forget it, the numbers are irrelevant. It could be for this yacht here. It doesn't matter, all right? Anything. So you go in and you view the property. It's on the market for £1 million. It's not had any offers, not had any buyers. Maybe it needs a wee bit of work done as well. And again, most people buying at that level, they need to be liquid or get assets that they can liquidize, and they're able to go in there and buy that property. Big deposits are required, and they're probably looking at something more walk-in rather than something that needs renovation. Many different variables and factors. But anyway, let's say you see the property. It might need a little bit of work done, might not. Regardless, it doesn't matter. There's a few variables to consider. and then you get chatting to the agent or ideally to the seller, and what you'll be proposing, this is what Pena talks about, it's worth £1 million. Now, do you think if the seller can't sell the property for £1 million, if you were in with an offer of 1.1 or 1.2, I mean, you might be sitting there thinking, Paul, excuse me, that's a bit crazy. You're talking about 100 grand or 200 grand more than what it's worth right now. The seller can't even sell anyway. Do you think you'll get the seller's attention? Abso-fucking-lutely. You'd get my attention. And when you do that, and again, when we talk about this in Property Protege, it's not as simple and straightforward to that. I'm just sharing with you, I'm inspiring you to realise there's a different way that you can actually own your dream home. And what Pena says about this, he's a big advocate of this strategy, is you simply offer them more, and you don't always have to. If you're good at negotiating and you generally have a motivated seller, the motivation might not be around the purchase price, it might just be around taking away that monthly burden, that payment you have to pay every single month. Now, this strategy works when you're to own your own dream home that you can afford the mortgage, all right? So keep that in mind. £1 million home, the mortgage could be as much as 10 grand a month. It could be as little as, you know, 5-6 grand a month, depending on the product, depending on the outstanding debt, all of that kind of stuff. And if you can afford it, because you're packaging deals, you're doing buy to flips, you're bringing in the money, things are starting to happen for you, your business is doing well, whatever it may be, and you've got the affordability factor, and all you need to do is have a conversation with the seller or the agent. The agent will be incentivized because they make more commission as well, and they're taking a solution to the seller. But more importantly, what you're saying is, okay, I'll give you £1 million, or I'll give you 1.1, 1.2, whatever the offer may be, but I'll give you that in 5 years from now, or 7 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 2 years if you believe you're going to have enough money to be able to complete on that property in 2 years. And a delayed completion is a strategy, my friends. I'm going to tell you what to do. If you leave us a review on this podcast, go to hardcorepropertypodcast.com/iTunes. If you leave us a review, I'm going to send you a bonus content where I go into a little bit more detail about delayed completions. I share about the first property that I went into and moved into, my first dream home, the one I mentioned on this, how I structured it, what I did. So if you want that bonus podcast, I'm going to ask for you just to give me a review. That's it. Go to hardcorepropertypodcast.com/iTunes. Give me a review, then hook me up on social media, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Send me a private message, let me know you've done that, and I'll send you the recording. Hey, if you go one stage further, I'll be forever grateful. I'll keep on putting this great content out for you, and share this video, get it out to your friends, your connections. Let the world get to know me more so I can share more good stuff, all right? I dig into more detail on the delayed completion strategy. So that's it, just leave us a review, share this video, and I'll do that for you. And there's more to it, so I cover it in that kind of half-hour video as well that you're going to have. So this strategy is phenomenal. You can go in, providing you can do the affordability, providing you can structure it in a way that the seller's happy, takes it off their hands, and you're moving into a home. Again, it's all in the structure. You're moving into a home, your dream home, well before you thought was possible. It's well within your grasp. It's almost there, my friends. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. As always, give us that review, give us your feedback, share as well, and I look forward to speaking to you again next week. So from Venice, bye for now.